Some martial arts moves were not banned because they were fake. They were banned because they were too dangerous to survive in real competition. But how deadly were they really? And why do some fighters still secretly train them today? In this video, we are counting down 10 martial arts moves so savage they became outlawed across combat sports worldwide. Number 10. The rabbit punch. Boxing has always been brutal, but there was one strike so dangerous that every major combat sport eventually outlawed it forever. The rabbit punch. At first glance, it looks small. No wild knockout swing, no spinning attack, just a short punch landing behind the head or at the base of the neck. But that tiny target hides human body. A clean rabbit punch can violently snap the brain inside the skull, damage the brainstem, and shut the body down instantly. Fighters have collapsed from it, some never fully recovered. The most chilling modern example came in 2015 when rising boxer Pritchard Colon absorbed repeated illegal shots to the back of the head during his fight with Terrell Williams. Moments later, Colon collapsed and suffered catastrophic brain damage that changed his life forever. That tragedy forced combat sports to crack down harder than ever before. Today, referees stop fights immediately when punches land behind the head. Even in the toughest fight sports on earth, some techniques are considered too savage to allow. And the rabbit punch became one of the deadliest examples in combat sports history.
Because Sekocha is trying to win. He's trying to throw a great overhand right. He's just not making.
Number 9. The neck crank. Most submissions attack pain, breathing, or blood flow. The neck crank attacks something far more terrifying, the spine itself. Instead of putting an opponent to sleep, this hold violently twists the cervical vertebrae beyond their natural range. Catch wrestlers once used neck cranks to force instant surrender because few fighters could endure the pressure for more than a second. The danger is brutally simple. A powerful crank can rupture discs, tear ligaments, fracture vertebrae, or damage the spinal cord permanently. Unlike a choke, there is almost no safe buffer between discomfort and catastrophic injury. In old Vale Tudo fights, competitors tapped instantly or screamed in agony as their necks bent sideways under crushing torque. Even hardened veterans feared the move. That is why most grappling tournaments banned neck cranks entirely. In combat sports, some techniques are considered too dangerous to gamble with human movement itself.
He's got the look in his eyes. Here's the cover. Forearm to the face. Kick at it too. Take a look at Regal's aggression.
Number 8. Groin strikes. Every fighter trains to protect the chin, ribs, and liver. But there is one target the human body can barely defend: the groin. That is why groin strikes became one of the most feared techniques ever banned in combat sports. Systems like Krav Maga and Silat still teach them because they ignore size, strength, and toughness. One sharp knee or upward kick can instantly shut the body down. Medical experts warn that direct trauma to the groin can rupture testicles, trigger internal bleeding, and cause extreme nerve shock, powerful enough to collapse even elite fighters. Unlike punches to the body, there is almost no muscle protecting the area. In early no-rules competitions, repeated groin attacks horrified audiences and forced regulators to step in. Today, nearly every major combat sport bans them completely because the damage is fast, brutal, and sometimes permanent. Number 7. Heel kicks to the kidney. In the early days of modern combat sports, fighters experimented with techniques so vicious that regulators erased them almost immediately. One of the most feared was the heel kick to the kidney. From the guard position, a fighter could trap an opponent close and repeatedly drive the heel into the lower back with brutal precision. To the crowd, it sometimes looked harmless. To doctors, it was a nightmare. The kidneys sit dangerously exposed with little natural protection, making them highly vulnerable to blunt trauma. Repeated heel strikes could bruise or tear kidney tissue, trigger internal bleeding, and even cause acute kidney failure. Some fighters reportedly urinated blood for days after absorbing these attacks. Unlike a liver shot that usually causes temporary collapse, severe kidney damage can become life-threatening without emergency surgery. Regulators saw the risk early and permanently banned the technique from major combat sports. Number 6. Headbutts. Nothing in combat sports feels more raw than a headbutt. No gloves, no technique chains, just bone crashing directly into bone. Fighters learned early that the forehead is one of the hardest parts of the human body. Driven into a nose or eye socket, it can instantly break cartilage, split skin, and trigger violent concussions. That danger is exactly why most combat sports banned headbutts decades ago. Doctors feared long-term brain trauma, fractured facial bones, and cuts so severe that fights ended in rivers of blood instead of skillful exchanges. Yet one brutal striking art still embraces them: Burmese Lethwei. In its clinch battles, fighters smash foreheads together with terrifying force, often opening massive cuts within seconds. Watching it feels less like modern sport and more like ancient combat surviving into the present day. The headbutt remains one of fighting's most savage weapons. Number 5. The 12-6 elbow. Few strikes in combat sports look as terrifying as the 12-6 elbow. The motion is simple. The fighter raises the elbow high and drives it straight down like a hammer, crashing from 12 o'clock to 6. Unlike spinning elbows or horizontal shots, this strike channels body weight, gravity, and sharp bone into one brutal impact point. That is what made regulators fear it. A grounded opponent cannot roll with the blow because the floor traps the head in place, forcing the skull, jaw, neck, or eye socket to absorb the full force directly. In old Muay Thai circles, fighters even leaped into downward elbows aimed at the crown of the head. Critics still debate whether the ban is outdated, but many officials continue viewing the 12-6 elbow as one of the most dangerous strikes ever created. Number 4. Spiking the piledriver. Few techniques in combat sports look more terrifying than a spike piledriver. The concept is brutally simple. Lift the opponent upside down and drive them headfirst into the ground. In scripted wrestling, performers train carefully to protect the neck during impact. In real combat, there is no safety net. The entire force crashes directly through the cervical spine. One bad angle can fracture vertebrae, rupture discs, or permanently damage the spinal cord within seconds. Early Vale Tudo fights shocked audiences when fighters were slammed vertically onto their heads while trapped in submissions. Some survived with concussions and severe neck trauma. Others came dangerously close to paralysis. Medical experts warned that the human neck was never designed to absorb that level of vertical compression. Combat organizations quickly realized the risk was too high for live competition. The spike piledriver disappeared because one mistake could instantly turn a sporting event into a fatal tragedy. Number 3. Throat strikes. The throat is one of the weakest and most dangerous targets on the human body. That is why throat strikes became one of the first techniques banned in modern combat sports. In martial arts like Krav Maga, Silat, and traditional karate, fighters were taught to attack the windpipe because it can stop a person almost instantly. A fast strike with the palm, fingers, or edge of the hand can crush the trachea, block breathing, and cause severe damage to the neck and arteries. Unlike the ribs or stomach, the throat has very little muscle or bone protecting it. Doctors warn that serious throat injuries can quickly become fatal without emergency treatment. Because of that risk, punches, chops, and finger attacks aimed directly at the throat are illegal in nearly every combat sport today. The technique is simply considered too dangerous for competition.
Where you going? Get out of my fucking...
Number 2. Small joint manipulation. Most submission holds attack large joints like the shoulder, knee, or elbow. Small joint manipulation targets something far more fragile: the fingers and toes. Martial arts such as Aikido, Hapkido, Silat, and traditional Chinese systems taught these techniques because they require very little strength to cause devastating damage. A fighter only needs to isolate one finger and bend it slightly beyond its natural range before ligaments tear or bones snap instantly. In real combat, the purpose was simple: break the hand, and the opponent could no longer hold a weapon or defend themselves properly. But in organized competition, regulators saw the danger immediately. Unlike muscles or large joints, fingers are extremely difficult to condition against pain or injury. Even a minor break can permanently reduce grip strength, flexibility, and hand control. Since grappling, punching, and clinching all depend heavily on grip, athletic commissions banned small joint manipulation to protect fighters from lifelong damage and shorten careers.
When I move, you pull the trigger.
Number 1. Eye gouging. Some techniques are banned because they hurt too much. Eye gouging was banned because it permanently destroys people. The attack is brutally simple. Drive fingers or thumbs directly into the eyes. Even a small amount of force can tear the cornea, detach the retina, or crush the delicate nerves behind the eye socket. Unlike broken bones, severe eye injuries often never heal completely. Victims can lose vision for life within seconds. That danger is why nearly every combat culture in history rejected the technique. Ancient Greek pankration allowed choking, joint breaking, and violent throws, yet eye gouging was still considered too savage for honorable competition. Modern combat sports reached the same conclusion. Officials realized no fighter could realistically defend their eyes during close exchanges. Even accidental pokes with gloves have caused serious injuries. A deliberate gouge with bare fingers would be catastrophic. Eye gouging crossed the line from combat into permanent mutilation. These outlawed techniques reveal what martial arts looked like before modern rules existed. Brutal, efficient, and often permanently damaging, their removal protected fighters and transformed combat into a test of skill instead of survival. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe now, leave a like, and share the video with fellow fight fans. More hidden martial arts history is coming soon.